Most of the people on this channel probably don't know, but I cover The Sims quite a lot because it's one of the communities that I'm constantly there and constantly lurking, because that is kind of what I'm into, except not with the newest installment. The newest installment is the one that I tend to laugh at. It's not the one that I tend to be into. But they managed to release an expansion for not just I that dislikes it, but the majority of the community. They managed to actually release something that has such a bad pushback, and I want to kind of analyze and explain to you guys why. We are gonna watch the trailer together because EA is not a shithead and will not DMCA me for watching a trailer. They have never done that. I watched loads of trailers. I even talked about unreleased content in The Sims 4 when city living leaks were happening. EA didn't care. EA does not care. So if you want to praise this corporate, this giant for one thing, praise it for that. One thing that they are gonna care about, not EA, but the people that actually made the music for the trailer, is the fact that you can hear the music. So I'm actually gonna be muting the sound, but you're not gonna be missing much except for the song that's playing. So the newest expansion for The Sims 4 that's gonna be coming June 7th, and it's like 100th one. I don't mean it literally, but they do have like over 40 DLC by now, I think. It's called The Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle, and it's hard to discuss it without actually showing the trailer to you and explaining what's wrong with it. So let's look at the trailer first. Okay, you already saw the first thing that's wrong with it. It took us, what, 3 seconds? Right, so what you're seeing is a Sims neighborhood. It's a new neighborhood, which would mean that when this game releases, it's gonna be put into the game, and you move Sims there, and I'm now wondering, is the constant coughing a thing? Because if the constant coughing is a thing, that's very annoying gameplay-wise. Okay, now you see the neighborhood go from what it looked like to what it's gonna look like now. EA has a very weird and shallow view of what ecology is. They're essentially going, you build a house out of containers, right? Then you get a machine that shreds stuff, and you make wax candles, and it makes the place green because you have convinced your neighbors to make wax candles too. Not entirely how that works. Not entirely how it works. And it also seems like it's a save-a-day environment through buying and consuming sort of thought, because if you're making endless wax candles, you need somebody to be buying endless wax candles from you, and I'm not too sure why you're making endless wax candles to begin with. Are you making endless wax candles from scraps or what? Like, how does that work? Now, okay, people thought that that might be a chicken. Some people got excited that that might be a chicken because they're like, would love a farming based pack. I would love to have cows and chickens and a chicken coop. That's a worm. Just suck the bad air out. Yeah, sure, that's how it works. But yes, now I can talk in depth about what is wrong with all of this. And it's not that obvious for anyone that's not involved in The Sims. So let's start from the beginning. One, this idea is not being pushed by EA in one pack, it's being pushed through multiple packs. There's Off the Grid Living, Laundry Day stuff pack that also made you wash your laundry in a bucket of water as one of the options. Island Living, which was their previous expansion pack that was pretty empty in itself, had Conservationist Career that practically involved picking up the trash. This whole gameplay is centered about picking up the trash. They keep on pushing these things. It's like EA wants to say, we are a company with X values, and they try to make shallow gameplay to represent their X values rather than representing the gameplay that people would like. Two, this expansion pack, from the looks of it, comes with a new neighborhood where the thing happens. And they have tried this kind of model over and over and over again in The Sims 4, and it's actually quite annoying because you saw it in the Strange Town pack, you saw it in this one, you saw it in the Conservationist Career for Island Living. If you want the place to be nice, every single time when you start a new save file, you will have to make the place nice yourself. You can't just select, I want to live in a grimy place, I want to live in a nice place. You would have to do that whole thing. But once you've done it once, you can't repeat it. That's your expansion pack over. It's like selling a story DLC for an RPG, but you're selling it for a sandbox game, and it's the kind of gameplay that has an end. But at the same time, by creating a new neighborhood and placing majority of the gameplay there, they're making sure that you can't really play with that gameplay much outside of that one neighborhood. And it's a running problem with The Sims 4 in general. For example, City Living introduced apartments. If you want to live in an apartment, you can only live in City Living area. You can't build this apartment anywhere else. You can't have apartments in any other neighborhoods. Just there. If you want vampires, you will have the best chance of getting them while living in the neighborhood that came with vampires. These things overlap very little, and if you just like a place thematically and you want to live there, you will be losing out on a lot of other expansion packs content because you can't really interact with it because you're in the wrong neighborhood. So for example, if let's say I have a Sims family, and let's say that they're already living in a neighborhood, unless I move them to this new neighborhood, I will be missing out of probably 50% of the expansion pack. I would still have access to candle making. I would not have access to community projects and to making that neighborhood pretty and clean. Third, what you saw there was actually, there was one single moment, and this whole time, if I go back through the trailer somewhere in there, that showed ladders. Yeah, this one. See this big ladder? That was something that Sims team was insisting that they can't do. And it was content that used to come in other packs, but now feel like it was ripped from a pack. So for example, recently we had Tiny Living Stuff Pack. Okay? It's a stuff pack about building small and compact houses. What people noticed is the lack of small and compact furniture for small and compact houses. The example would be a ladder like this, or bunk beds, something that we had in previous games. Well, EA then went, we can't do these kind of things, they just kind of a bit too problematic to do. Out comes the expansion pack and EA goes, hey, you said you wanted that ladder, right? You said you really wanted it? How about on top of buying that stuff pack, you also buy this expansion pack because we added that ladder that you really wanted. That's how EA works, and that's why people don't like it. It's kind of like they made Cats and Dogs expansion pack, and then made my first pet stuff pack that required you to own Cats and Dogs expansion pack that added smaller animals. Despite the fact that in any iteration, it would have been one thing. That's what EA keeps on catching heat for. Fourth is they keep on doing surveys. They keep on doing surveys and they seem to be discarding the results or using the survey for a different purpose. So, for example, Eco Living won for a stuff pack. It won as a topic for a stuff pack against things like spooky haunts and things. Because people think, oh, wind turbines and solar panels and things like that. That could be good decor for my house. So they're like, would I buy a stuff pack with this theme? Yes, and they vote for yes. But then EA looks at those results and goes, let's make an expansion pack. And nobody would have voted for this for an expansion pack. Because there's not really enough content to make an expansion pack. So now EA essentially took a stuff pack's idea, stuff pack that would have cost you $10, and made an expansion pack out of it and said, oh, you like the idea? Give us $50 instead. And a lot of people are not prepared to hand over $50. And this is actually practically the first time that I'm seeing people react to it this way, so it's kind of funny for me. Outside of this, EA only got into controversies with The Sims 4, mostly over small things, and the community would be a lot more divided on this. So, yet a few days ago, by now, not yesterday, they did the announcement for it. Play to change in The Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle Expansion Pack. And all the responses, I'm personally not excited for it. No thank you. I don't know. I don't like this. Chickens are the only part that may interest me. Wait, those aren't chicks? In that case, never mind. Not getting it at all. Thoughts? Not for me. Then, of course, you have some people that are still like, oh, it's great. Not looking forward to this one either. This is the first time that I'm seeing so many comments going, this is not for me. This is not what I would have liked. And as always, a new expansion pack, stuff pack, whatever pack gets announced, and EA's influencers, which is people that get all these things for free, go, oh my god, it's so awesome! And they actually started collecting heat for it this time around, because very little part of the audience actually thinks that this is awesome themselves. And it also didn't help the situation that before this showed up, there was a rumor that EA was gonna do a farming expansion pack instead, and people got excited. Because people like cows and chickens and pigs and beehives, and we actually haven't seen this before. While with this one, they go, you haven't seen this one before in The Sims, and people go, oh yes, we did. We did, but normally you would make a stuff pack out of it. You would not be pushing your clean earth agenda through an expansion pack plus 2 stuff packs plus a different expansion pack. Normally that wouldn't happen. Normally you would have made this a stuff that we can use to decorate our stuff and leave it at that. You wouldn't actually repeatedly get stuck on one theme and report to us as a broken record about how earth-loving EA is, because this is what it comes out of. This comes out of us. We wanted to preach rather than we wanted to give you something fun to play with. We wanted you to realize that we're pro-Earth. Before that, it was we wanted you to realize that we are pro-diversity and pro-trans people and pro the LGBTQ community. And what ends up happening is you end up having a game that's actually really shallow. You have a lot of customization options, so you could be a woman that pays while standing up, has a very dark skin tone, lives in a tiny house while preserving the environment by being a conservationist career inside the new place that she has restored while making wax candles. But that's not... That doesn't fix the gameplay. It doesn't fix the fact that the emotion system is shallow. It doesn't fix the fact that all Sims react in the same way. It doesn't fix the fact that you have to put extra work to even get people to get mad at each other. It doesn't fix the fact that their game is boring. And the longer and longer and longer it runs, the more and more people go that the base was really flawed and you never really fixed it. But the EA, for some reason, is very, very dead set on just continuing The Sims 4 and never doing a new base, never fixing what they need to fix. They're just continuing milking this cash cow, probably because it's easy. You just throw a couple of furniture, you push out a new stuff pack, you sell it. It's so easy that they've been giving people the base game for free in order to try and get them into the, come over here and get all of our DLCs. So I probably will not miss this part of EA once it passes. What I mean by that, once Paradox or an indie company or anyone brings out a competitor and people switch this game off and EA stops making content for it, I don't think I will miss for the 6, 8, 10 plus years or however long they're planning on running this. But at the same time, I am pretty sure that EA will do with The Sims the same thing that it did with City Living, which would mean the moment they will get a competitor, they will be like, we don't want to compete. No, thank you. We're just not making a new game. And everybody's gonna be disappointed because it's gonna be a death of a big franchise and it's gonna be a big deal. But unfortunately, this is how EA operates. They run franchises down and they go, you buy this watered down version that didn't require a lot of resources to make because you like the previous games and you want the franchise to continue. Oh, you have somewhere else to go and some better game to buy? Well then, we're just gonna discontinue the franchise. So yeah, welcome to Murta's Sims Rants. Thank you for watching, and if you like my content, please subscribe, and hopefully I will see you the next time.